It's your host over here, Runa, and I got a special invitation for you. Join me and the Changemakers in the No More Boxes movement, where we are raising awareness towards this limiting and isolating behavior that we human beings are constantly doing, placing ourselves and others into boxes. Invisible boxes that so often are not really serving humankind. All you have to do is to go to patreon.com/no more boxes, and for as little as $3 a month, you can become a change maker and be with us on that journey, changing the world. Now let's get on with that podcast. You're listening to the Changemakers podcast, where we share tips, insight, tools, and stories from other changemakers designed to motivate you to become the change you want to see in your world. Make sure you join our Changemakers community at runamagnus.com/podcast. And now, this is your time to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, fabulous listeners of the Changemakers podcast. Today, our guest comes from all the way from sunny California, and apparently it's not sunny there at the moment, and that's where everything goes in chaos. But nevertheless, we are here, and I'm super excited to introduce to you Tiffani Churchill. I'm super excited for many reasons. One of them is the fact that here's a person that says everything is possible. And although many of us might believe or might say everything is possible, we might not be really living our life as it is. And I always see what is preventing us is the boxes that we have either placed ourselves in or we've been placed in. But here's someone that I'm really interested to hear more about, and I'm sure it's going to be an episode full of ideas and insights as always. I want to welcome the one and only Tiffani Churchill. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and spend this time with you today.
Oh, well, likewise. Tiffani, tell us your whole thing about everything is possible. How did that come to you?
Well, it's similar to the analogy that you just put of people putting themselves in boxes. And I have had such an extraordinary life and have overcome my own personal obstacles and have experienced just what others from the outside might say are miracles. So personally, I have witnessed so much, yet I find people limit themselves and they don't have the believability in what they can do, and they truly have more power both individually and collectively than they're aware of. And so as I began to work with people, I kept seeing the limitations and these false beliefs come up. And I said, how can I assist people in overcoming this? What can I do? And that's where the idea of what is possible got started. And it started just kind of as an idea, just what if I could do this? And then it became kind of my own what is possible as I challenged myself to turn it into a reality. And so now what is possible are about 30-minute documentaries that are very highly engaging about extraordinary people all over the world. And the goal is to provide enough evidence to people that they can fully grasp that believability and overcome some of their own limitations, and they can bring that into their own world.
So by seeing the other Joe or whatever, or Joanne, in a similar footsteps like that you find yourself in, and they've changed whatever that is, you become more inspired. Yeah, I love that. So tell me more about these documentaries, and what is your goal for you personally? What is it that you want to achieve?
Personally, I want to achieve people being able to watch an episode, sit back and take a little bit from it, even if it's that slight, even if it ignites just a little bit of believability within them. Because there's no successful person, there's no person that overcame obstacles or healed themselves or whatever it might be, the challenges that they're facing, that didn't at least start with a little bit of belief that they could do it. So all I want to do is crack the door with these episodes and give that little bit of believability so that people can tap into that greater power that's within them that is waiting to be expressed, so that they can go out and face their limitations and overcome themselves and really be able to achieve and live their greatest life and whatever that means to them.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how you use the word crack, as I can picture that especially maybe knowing you're in California, and California, for some reason, I start to think about earthquakes and cracks. And here I am in Iceland, and then there's another place on this planet that has earthquakes quite frequently and a crack. And when Mother Nature steps in and is either opening things up, or like in the two plates coming together in California, but it's about that inevitable thing, that force that we can't do anything about. It's just happening. Like when an earthquake happens, it's just happening. And it seems to me, and I would love to hear your insights on that, Tiffani. It seems to me like this world is cracking. There are so many things that are going on this planet that really seems like the old paradigm. It's so cracking apart that it's both frightening as we see more and more of us and them spot up. And then there are people like yourself that are doing this miraculous job, making human beings being able to see that there is a possibility and you can actually be whole. So it's this yin and the yang. Do you know what I mean there?
Yes, and our world is in such, I believe, great change, and so many people are focused on the negative things that might be happening, which there are, but they're also more in our awareness because we have social media and news, and it's so much focused on that, and we sometimes aren't hearing the amazing things that are also happening at the same time, which is another reason for what is possible. As we continually are surrounding by the negative news and the negative aspects in the world, we forget that there are these amazing humans out there that are doing incredible things. And when we become more aware and we're focused more on that, it really is uplifting everyone, because our awareness doesn't go to so much of the problems anymore. It's going to the miracles that are happening, the people that are pushing themselves to incredible levels, the people that are healing, the people that are overcoming their bodies or using the power of their minds. And individually, there's so much at work, and yet collectively, there's so much at work as well. So we are really in a beautiful time, I find, in history. We just don't have our awareness necessarily always on that. What is your thoughts on our time right now? And you must see that as well.
Yeah, I do. I see that as a huge possibility. I just did a kickoff seminar here in Iceland in the beginning of the year, my annual seminar. And one of the things that I noticed more and more people on that seminar were talking about was they felt their need to go into the new year, with more of an awareness of what they want to become, rather than being the doers that they have always been. Now, over here in Iceland, we have quite a lot of people, I would say, not that I want to put all Icelanders under one box, but entrepreneurship is quite a common thing, and being creative and following your intuition is something that many people actually are doing over here. Similar to, I am assuming, in California for many places. But what they're saying is, I've been forcing things, and now I don't want to force things. I want to be. And I love that. And I think that's awakening. That sounds like that's the crack that you talked about.
Yes, and I 100% agree. It really is about being. It's not about doing. When you enter the place of being, you don't have to do, it doesn't take as much effort anyway. And then you have the greater fulfillment from the place of being than you ever do from the forcing or the trying or making things happen. And I have a course, an online course, and it's called The Path to Everything. And it really is about being. It's about cultivating that inner state so that then everything just comes to you more in a natural flow. But beyond that, it's about cultivating that inner happiness, that inner fulfillment, so that when you actually do go out and get something, the things don't bring you the happiness anyway. It really has to come from the work within it first. Mm-hmm. And so I 100% agree. And it's so beautiful that in Iceland, that thought process is becoming so popularized and common, that people are already taking that step to being.
Yeah. And I think that is really a global thing. When you are working, Tiffani, tell me more about your audience. Whom do you love to work with and serve?
In the episodes of What is Possible? Well, my audience for who's watching What is Possible is really anybody who wants to tap into that power and bring it into their life so that they can achieve, become whatever it is that they would like to experience in their life. We're unlimited. And so it's overcoming yourself and overcoming your beliefs and being able to fully fulfill your vision of what you would like for your best life. So it really doesn't matter of what it is you would like to experience in your world. Whether it's greater business success, whether it's greater parenting, better relationships, whether it's just that inner fulfillment and joy for life, which is what I think most of us should be cultivating, because what's greater than that to just wake up every day and love being alive. So the audience is anybody that really wants to take that step and have a greater life. And so it's connecting to the people in the stories. So some people might have a challenge right now where they're facing a healing challenge, and how beautiful to continually to see people that have healed. And so then it gives them the believability that they can do that as well. Or how amazing to see people that have overcome these tremendous obstacles that I am blown away by the stories that are in some of these episodes and what they've overcome and what they've achieved after overcoming it. And people that were told their whole life that they can't do something, and they faced those challenges and those fears and they did it. Or I've done stories and working on stories with best-selling authors. One of my podcasts that'll be released in February is this incredible woman, and she's a 4-time best-selling author she had her own TV show, and she quit her day job to pursue her dream. She went into debt. And then when she sent her book into the publishers, they all rejected it. Every single one of them said, don't quit your day job. And her story, when you hear her story, I think everybody in the world should hear it, because when you think you can't do something and you listen to her story, you absolutely know that all of those limitations are not true.
Yeah, exactly. And really, it's just in our heads. It's those boxes that are so invisible. No one can see them.
And sometimes we're not even aware of them. So many things are from when we were small and we weren't able to process the experiences that's around us. We didn't have the emotional capability to process those emotions and things. And then our well-meaning friends and family and people that we encounter that tell us what we can and can't do and have their own stories. And we just adapt it all and bring it into our world and accept it as truth.
And believe in them. We believe that those stories are true.
Yes. And we spend most of our life believing it, and it limits us and holds us back. And yes. And
I can't wait to listen to that podcast. Really, any inspiring stories, because it is related to, all of our stories are related to the boxes that we either have been placed in or we placed ourselves in. And speaking of, when you talk about your guest, this best-selling author, I think I see so many people, whether it's a man who is considered to be soft and considered to be considerate and kind and loving and caring and all of that, and being judged for being that, and constantly trying to fit in the manhood, or a woman that wants to be driving and wants to do things that are not considered to be feminine, and all of those invisible things that we're trying to fit in, but it's making us feel miserable. Your podcast is so inspiring for people to listen and understanding that they can be everything, and everything is possible. So what is possible for you, Tiffani, as you're going now into the new year, and we're recording this in the beginning of the year? What is possible for you?
Well, so many amazing things. The What is Possible episodes will be launched in YouTube on March. We're launching it so we can have the stories come from all over the world. And so we want an audience that can really tap into and have these stories available to them. So those will be launched in March. I have several other projects that we're working on right now. And just the extraordinary people that I meet in each episode, whether it's the person being featured or the people that are behind, were either working with me or as part of their team. And that in itself is extraordinary. I learn from each person and each story that I meet, and am inspired just every day by who I get to talk to. So it truly is just such a blessing to be able to work on this project and share these stories. And I can't wait for people to watch them and to be able to see. And again, I just continually say, tap into that power within them. We have so much more within us. And it's evident when you start to hear these stories of what people are doing around the world.
Yeah. And we will put all the links in our show notes for sure, so the people listening to this episode can go directly into your new YouTube channel and watch as well. One final question, Tiffani. As you doing your fabulous job and serving on this planet today. What is the change that you want to see in our world?
Well, I think it's an individual change that happens because the individual then uplifts all of humanity. So it goes back to really what we've been talking about in this whole podcast. It comes back to focusing on who you're being. It comes back to tapping into your own power, because when you can release the fear, when you can release those limitations, when you can release all of that, when you're cultivating a internal state that's more fulfilled, you no longer are bringing judgment or criticism to others. Your thoughts are in a different place. You yourself are uplifted. And if we can all just take time and focus more of ourselves individually, we are uplifting everybody. And so much of the time our attention is on others and how others need to change, or how politics needs to change, and how so many things, which there might be great truth to that. But sometimes we just need to take it back internally and see that each one of us affects the whole. And we can do so much just by uplifting ourselves.
Do so much by uplifting ourselves. Tiffani, thank you so much. I'm going to take that into the world and into my world. Thank you for being a guest.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Was this podcast of value for you? I sure hope so. If so, feel free to share the love and give us your generous review on iTunes or Stitcher. And remember that you can always go to runemagnus.com to find out more about the Changemakers and how we can help you drive the change you want to see in your world.